Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. As you know, we have been preparing for our Christmas in July series. And so in order to get done the projects that I want to create for the summer holidays, I do need to get a little bit of a jump start on that. So I've gone ahead and created a dollar download patriotic card printable, and I always enjoy sharing with you different ways to use that printable so that you can see we get a lot of variety of different styles of projects and sizes of cards. So for today's tutorial, we're going to create this slimline card, and so that will be a step-by-step guide, and then make sure that you stay tuned to the end because we're going to share with you these two other projects that I have prepared in advance so you can see a variety of different kinds of cards. So if that sounds good to you, then stick with me and we'll make it together. Okay friends, I just wanted to share with you very quickly the different elements for our printable. I have this all over pattern as a base. There's a layering pattern as well as a background. The tag that's meant for the focal image, and it has that sweet little mason jar with the flag and the flowers. And then I also have a small sentiment strip here, and I'm going to use this printable exactly how it was designed. I didn't alter it or size it at all. And for the cards I'm making today, I have just one printing of this image. So I just like to share with you the different styles of cards that will work for. And today we're going to be making a slimline card. Now I'm doing a little bit of paper piecing for this card. As you can see, the printable is not quite long enough for that base pattern. So I'm going to cut it to be the width that I want that will fit within the border of that blue cardstock. But then I'm going to clip it in half, and then I'm going to position each of these halves a little bit further apart, and then I can bridge that gap with the background. So instead of being a layering element, I'm going to be using that as part of the background. So as you can see here, I do have my standard slimline base, and that is 4 wide by 9 high. And I decided that I did want to put the cardstock border around, and that's in a navy. And I'm just going to add these layers here with the sections separated so that I can fill in the amount of space I need for the base. And so here are those elements, and it's pretty easy to line up along that cardstock layer. And now I have my background, and you can see I did cut the ends off so that it would fit, but I still get a little bit of detail showing from that strip. It looks a little bit like a postcard, a vintage postcard. And so that is what we're gonna use to bridge that gap. And now we have a full background. So the next thing I want to add is that layering element. I did cut this with a die that has a banner shape and a stitched edge. And so that will give me a little bit of extra detail. I'm gonna aim this fairly low because we do have a lot going on in the middle, and I still want it to be a noticeable layering element. I've die cut a white doily. This is from the Recollections doily die. I'm not sure if it's still available. I found mine on Amazon. You could check there, but any smaller die will fit and work well. Just make sure that it doesn't overlap on the sides so that it would become fragile. And I'm going to place it a little bit higher than middle. And that white paper will help to break up some of those busy paper patterns. Now I've got that tag. I did add a layer of heavy cardstock to it, and then also a foam tape with dimension so that I can build up those layers. I've also added a metal eyelet and a little bit of twine just to finish that off. And before I add that, I do want to secure my sentiment strip. Just looks like fun little Scrabble tiles. I want it to show just along the edge here. So I'm going to adhere that to the adhesive of my foam tape, just so that it will be positioned exactly where I want. And you can see that I've also added a little bit of stickles detailing to this tag. And I'm placing that here as well. For this card, because we have so much extra room, I can include a couple of different flower arrangements, and so I just created two with the same flowers. I used the offcut from my navy cardstock for this one, and then I just created a smaller flower with some additional red cardstock. I've also got a die cut star here, and I just cut that from a mirror paper. It's a little bit of extra detail and sparkle. And I've got my usual die cut foliage with netting and a loopy twine bow. This beautiful trim is a bold check ribbon in red from Really Reasonable Ribbon, and I think that scale works very well on the busier background so that it doesn't look like it's too much pattern. So I'm going to pull out the glue gun to adhere these since they're a little bit heavy. I'm being very careful to position this so that the flowers do not extend beyond the side of the card, and that star does not interfere with the flag image. And so I'll do the same for this one on top, and I'll just scoot that into place. You'll notice that I have the leaves going in a different direction, just so that it will be even layout. I don't have too much going in one corner and not the other. Now, I do like to add my usual finishing details. So I've got a couple of charms here with a star pattern, and I'm going to position them alongside this tag so that one can be on top and one will be on the side. I did tie those with string prior to adhering them to the card so that I can make sure they fall exactly where I want them. I've added a bit of hot glue there, and I'll just twist these strings and set that into place. I'll remove the excess string and then top that with a button to hide the cut ends. I've got some sequins here to add to balance the other side. So that is it for our slimline card. Now, I did create a couple of other cards here just to show you that we can get a lot of variety of different styles of card from that $1 download printable. And so this one looks a little bit like a sweet and simple card, but it does have a little bit of a fun fold element here. And so I was able to create this one with just one printing as well. And so I do have just a simple layout. There aren't dimensional embellishments on this card, and this one will fit nicely into an envelope. I believe you will probably require some extra postage, but it is going to be a sweet and simple card. For the additional detail on this, since we aren't adding dimensional items, I decided to go ahead and add my stickles to more of the areas that I normally would, just so that we'd have a little bit of sparkle and bring out the detail of that printable. And I did just add that navy cardstock, same as the slimline card, and then the same doily here as well to break up that background a little bit. And then here is another card. This is a standard size 5 by 6.5 inch. This time I did have a little bit more finishing detail added. I cut my pattern paper to size, and before I adhered it to the card base, I clipped out the center with a circular nested die so that I could bring more of that pattern up and create some additional layers. And so I've got the same border of the cardstock, and I chose a slightly larger doily die for this card just because I had a little bit more room. But I did finish that tag in a similar style. For this one though, I did clip off the edge so that I'm right up against that red border. Just seemed to fit in that space a little better. And for these flowers, I do have a slightly smaller arrangement, and it just kind of curves around the bottom of that tag, and so that really fills in that space nicely. I've also got a couple of those charms again in some more sequins, but for this one you can see that I definitely have a lot of foam spacers. So I've developed quite a lot of dimension for this card. And so that's just 3 projects that I was able to create with that $1 download printable. If you're interested in checking that out for yourself, I'll link that in the description, as well as links for all of our socials. If you're not already, I would love for you to join our crafty little family by hitting that subscribe button. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day. And now thank you so much for watching. Bye.